Good morning, everyone. Myself is Kiran Mayi, lecturer in physics, working at Government City College. Today, now we are going to discuss about diffraction part 2. That is nothing but Fresnel class. Huygens Fresnel theory of light propagation. According to wave theory of light, each point in a light source sends out waves in all directions. Either particles are set up in vibration. The locus of all either particles vibrating in the same phase is called a wavefront. Further, every point on the wavefront sends out secondary wavelets. Fresnel assumed that these wavelets are in a position to interfere. The resultant intensity at any point is the result of interference of these wavelets. Fresnel calculated the resultant intensity at any point due to wavefront by dividing it into a number of zones called Fresnel's half-period zones. Now, Fresnel's half-period zones. Let ABCD be a monochromatic plane wavefront of wavelength lambda proceeding in the direction of a arrow, and P is a point where the resultant intensity is to be calculated. The calculation of the resultant intensity as such is complicated, but it was simplified by Fresnel by dividing the wavefront into a number of zones known as Fresnel's half-period zones. Let PO be the normal to the wavefront with P as the center and radii equal to P plus lambda by 2, P plus 2 lambda by 2, P plus 2 lambda by 2, so on up to P plus n lambda by 2 spheres are drawn. The plane ABCD cuts these spheres in concentric circles with center O and radii OM1, OM2, so on up to OMN. The area of the first innermost circle is the first half-period zone. Similarly, the areas enclosed between first and second circle, second and third circle, n-1th and nth circle are known as second, third, nth half-period zones. It is assumed that resultant wave starts from each zone. Relative phases of these zones as m1 p equals to op plus lambda by 2. Hence, the ray reaching at P from O and the circumference of the circle of radius OM1 are in opposite phase, that is, there is a path difference of lambda by 2 or phase difference of pi. The phase difference due to other points lying in the circle of radius OM1 will vary from O to pi. Thus, the mean phase of the secondary wavelets originated from a first zone may be taken as 0 plus pi by 2. The phase due to M1 and M2 will differ by pi. The mean phase of the secondary wavelets originated from the second zone is pi plus 2 pi by 2. That is 3 pi by 2. Similarly, it can be shown that mean phase due to third, fourth zones are 5 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, etc. etc. The successfully zones differ in phase by pi or half period t by 2, that is why they are called as half period zones. Amplitude due to a zone. The amplitude of disturbance at P due to the wave from the zone varies directly as the area of the zone, inversely as the average distance of the zone from P, directly as f of theta n, where f of theta n is a function of the theta n. We will consider these points one by one. The area of the first half period zone is pi into OM1 square equals to pi into M1P square minus OP square. That is pi into P lambda plus lambda square by 4. That is approximately equals to P lambda. The radius of OM2 of the secondary half period zone is given by OM2 equals to M2P square minus OP square whole power half. That is under root 2P lambda. The area of second half period zone is pi into 2 pi 2p lambda minus p lambda equals to pi p lambda. Thus, the area of half period zone is equal to pi p lambda. In general, the radius of nth zone is under root np lambda, average distance of a zone. So, let us consider the average distance of nth zone from P. P plus n lambda by 2 plus P plus n minus 1 into lambda by 2 by 2. P plus 2n minus 1 into lambda by 4. Obliquity factor theta n. This is the angle between the normal to the zone and the line joining to the zone to P. The obliquity factor is denoted by f of theta n. Amplitude to nth zone is pi p plus 2n minus 1 into lambda by 4 into lambda divided by p plus 2n minus 1 into lambda by 4 into f of theta n, as that is pi lambda into f of theta n. As the order of zone increases, f of theta n decreases. Thus, the amplitude of wave from a zone at P decreases as n increases. Resultant amplitude. Let R1, R2, R3 so on represent the amplitudes of waves at P due to secondary waves from the first, second, third, etc. half period zones. As discussed above, the amplitude decreases as n increases because obliquity decreases. Hence, R1, R2, R3 are of continuously decreasing order. R1 is slightly greater than R2, R2 is slightly greater than R3 and so on. Therefore, the amplitude of any vibration at P due to any zone can be approximately taken as the mean of the amplitudes due to the zones preceding and succeeding it. Hence, R2 equals to R1 plus R3 by 2. The two successive amplitudes are shown in reverse directions as there is a phase difference of pi between any two consecutive zones. The resultant amplitude at P at any instant is given by R equals to R1 minus R2 plus R3 minus R4 so on up to Rn if n is odd. That end R1 minus R2 plus R3 minus R4 so on up to minus Rn if n is even. Considering n is as odd, R equals to R1 by 2 plus R1 by 2 minus R2 plus R3 by 2 plus R3 by 2 minus R4 plus R5 by 2 plus so on R1 by 2 plus Rn by 2. Considering n as even, R equals to R1 by 2 plus Rn minus 1 by 2 minus Rn. As n tends to infinity, Rn and Rn minus 1 tends to 0 as amplitudes are gradually diminishing. Therefore, the resultant amplitude at P due to the whole wavefront is R1 by 2. That is, resultant intensity I is directly proportional to R1 by 2 whole square. Next, this can be shown in alternative method also. Next is rectilinear propagation of light. Let a plane wavefront of monochromatic light be incident normally on a circular aperture as shown in figure. Let a screen be placed parallel to the aperture at some distance. Consider a point P1 on the screen. O1 is the corresponding pole on the aperture. It is clear from the figure that a sufficient number of zones are exposed and hence the resultant amplitude at P1 is R1 by 2 in accordance with the above given Fresnel's theory. Thus, a uniform illumination around P1 is obtained. Similarly, for a point P2 which is within this geometrical shadow, a large number of effective zones are blocked and hence resultant amplitude is 0. Thus, complete darkness is observed around P2. For points such as P3 and P4, within dotted circles on the screen, the corresponding poles are O3 and O4 and the areas of effective zones changes too rapidly for the theory to apply. Thus, Fresnel's theory fails in explaining the rectilinear propagation near the edge. In this way, the phenomenon of rectilinear propagation is explained on the basis of wave theory, but only approximately. Zone plate. The correctness of Fresnel's method of dividing a plane wavefront into half-period zones, which forms the basis of the proof of the rectilinear propagation of light, can be verified by means of an optical device known as zone plate. To construct a zone plate, a large number of concentric circles with radii proportional to the square root of natural numbers are drawn on a sheet of white paper. The alternative zones are painted black. A highly reduced size photograph of this pattern is taken on a thin glass plate. The resultant glass negative is known as zone plate. In the negative, the zones which are painted black in the original drawing appear transparent while others appear black. In this way, two types of zone plates may be constructed. In the first type, the odd zones are transparent while even zones are opaque. On the other hand, in the second type, the even zones are transparent while odd zones are opaque. When the central zone is transparent, the zone plate is called positive, and when the central zone is opaque, it is called a negative. Both types of zone plates are shown in figure. Action of a zone plate. Let xy represent the section of a zone plate perpendicular to the plane of paper as shown in figure. S is a point source of monochromatic light giving out spherical waves of wavelength lambda. P is the position of the screen for a bright image. OM1, OM2, so on up to OM are the R1, R2, R3, so on up to Rn are the radii of the first, second, so on up to nth half-period zones. Let A be the distance of the source from the zone plate and B is the distance of screen from the zone plate. The position of the screen is such that there is an increasing path difference of lambda by 2 from one zone to the next zone. That is SM1 plus M1P equals to SO plus OP plus lambda by 2, that is A plus B plus lambda by 2. SM2 plus M2P equals to SO plus OP plus 2 lambda by 2 equals to A plus B plus 2 lambda by 2. So on up to SM1 plus M1P equals to SO plus OP plus N lambda by 2 equals to A plus B plus N lambda by 2. From figure, SMN square equals to SO square plus OMN square. SMN square equals to A square plus RN square. SMN equals to A square plus RN square whole power half. That is A into 1 plus Rn square by A square whole power half. That is A into 1 plus Rn square by 2A square approximately. Similarly, MNP equals to B plus Rn square by 2B. Substituting the values, we have A plus Rn square by 2A plus B plus Rn square by 2B equals to A plus B plus N lambda by 2. Rn square into A 1 by AB plus 1 by B 1 by A plus 1 by B equals to N lambda. Applying this sign convention, Rn square into minus 1 by a plus 1 by b equals to n lambda. That is 1 by b minus 1 by a equals to n lambda by Rn square. That is 1 by f of n. Therefore, f of n equals to Rn square by lambda. From equations, using the Lenz formula, 1 by v minus 1 by u equals to 1 by f, with a and b as the object and the image distances, comparing the two, fn equals to Rn square by n lambda. The above equation gives the focal length of zone plate. Thus, the zone plate behaves like a convergent lens. Focusing action. As the successive transparent zones are alternative, the waves from them differ in phase by lambda and reach the point P in the same phase. Let R1, R2, so on Rn be the amplitudes due to first, second, so on up to nth zone. Then the resultant amplitude R at P is given by R equals to R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus so on. Thus the resultant amplitude is many times greater than R1 by 2. In this way, the point P is extremely bright and can be said to be the image of S. This explains the focusing angle of zone plate. Comparison between a zone plate and a convex lens. Similarities. Both form real image of an object on the side other than the object. The distances of the object and image are connected together by similar formulae in both the cases. Focal length for both depends upon lambda and hence both show chromatic aberration. Dissimilarities. In case of convex lens, the rays are brought to focus by refraction, while in case of zone plate, the image is formed up by diffraction. In case of a convex lens, all the rays reaching the image point have the same optical path, while in a zone plate, waves reaching the image point through two alternative zones differ in path by lambda. The image due to a convex lens is more intense than due to a zone plate. For a convex lens, Fv is less than Fr, while a zone plate Fr is less than Fv. A convex lens has only one focus on one side of it, while a zone plate has multiple foci at distances. The intensity diminishes as the focal length decreases. Phase reversal zone plates. If instead of painting black, the alternative zones in a zone plate are covered by some transparent substance which introduce an additional optical path lambda by 2, then the amplitude from successive zones will help each other, and the intensity of the image approach that of an equivalent lens. A method for doing the same was devised by Wood in 1898, which is as follows. A chemically clean glass plate is coated with gelatin and sensitized by immersing in a weak solution of potassium dichromate and dried in the dark. It is then placed in contact with the zone plate and exposed to sunlight. Light passing through transparent zones acts on gelatin and makes it insoluble in water, while gelatin in contact with opaque zones remains soluble in water. The glass plate is now immersed in water. The gelatin of unexposed parts is dissolved. Such a plate is known as a phase reversal plate. The phase reversal zone plate produces 4 times more intense image than an ordinary zone plate. Diffraction at a straight edge. Let S be narrow slit placed perpendicular to the plane of paper and illuminated by a monochromatic source of light. A sharp straight edge or an obstacle is placed parallel to slit S. W dash is the trace of cylindrical wave front arriving at the straight edge. certain instant as shown in figure. XY is a screen placed perpendicular to the plane of paper at a finite distance P from the edge. P is a point on the screen and SAP is perpendicular to the screen. The aim of this article is to consider the intensity of different points on the screen. Geometrical optics tells us that there will be practically uniform illumination above P, while complete darkness below P. However, a careful examination of the screen reveals that immediately above P there are series of maxima and minima regions called the diffraction fringes. The intensity of maxima gradually decreases as we move above at the point P. At a certain distance, the fringes merge into uniform illumination. It should be noted that here the fringes become closer as we move away from P. It also observed that some light penetrates within the geometrical shadow. Of course, illumination falls off continuously and rapidly to zero without showing any maxima or minima. We shall now explain the intensity distribution by considering different points on the screen in the following manner. First, consider the point P for which the pole is A. This point P is fully exposed to the upper half of the cylindrical wavefront AW. Let R1, R2, R3, etc. be the amplitudes of the waves sent by half parrot strips A, M1, M1, M2, M2, M3, so on at point P. The resultant amplitude R at P will be R equals to R1 minus R2 plus R3 minus R4 plus so on. That is R1 by 2. Alternative strips are out of phase by 5. Hence, intensity at P is directly proportional to R1 by 2 whole square. Consider a point P1 on the screen as shown in figure. In order to calculate the resultant intensity at P1 due to wavefront WW dash, we join S to P1. The lines meet the wavefront at M0. The resultant intensity at P1 will depend mainly on the number of half parrot strips enclosed between the point A and M0. Now the following cases are considered. Let the position of P1 is such that it is exposed in addition to the upper half parrot wavefront to one half parrot strip M0 M1 from the lower half of the cylindrical wavefront. The resultant amplitude R dash in this case will be R dash equals to R1 by 2 plus R1, that is 3R1 by 2, where R1 by 2 is the contribution due to upper half wavefront and R1 due to the strip M0 M1 dash. Intensity at P1 is directly proportional to 3R1 by 2 whole square. That is 9 times that at P. Thus, the point P1 is a point of maximum intensity. Let the position of P1 is such that it is exposed to two half parrot elements, that is M0 M1 dash and M1 dash M2 dash. Due to two lower half of the wavefront, in this case the resultant R double dash is given by R double dash equals to R1 by 2 plus R1 minus R2. Intensity at this point is directly proportional to R1 square by 4. Hence, the comparison to previous position, a comparatively dark band is situated here. Similarly, when the point P1 is exposed to three strips, that is M1, M0, M1 dash, M1 dash, M2 dash, M2 dash, M3 dash, due to lower half wavefront, the resultant amplitude will be R triple dash. R triple dash is nothing but R1 by 2 plus R1. That is, intensity at point is directly proportional to 9r1 square by 2. Thus, the intensity is slightly less than the intensity of the bright band in the position I. In general, we say that intensity at P1 will be maximum if the number of half-parrot strips enclosed between A and M0 is odd, and minimum if the number of enclosed half-parrot strips is even. Consider a point P2 in the geometrical shadow as shown in figure. Let the position of P2 is such that lower half wavefront is completely obstructed by A, B and all the strips except the first one M0, M1 for the upper half wavefront are exposed to it. The resultant amplitude will be minus R2 plus R3 minus R4 plus R5 so on. That is minus R2 by 2. The intensity in this case is directly proportional to minus R2 by square 2 whole square. This is very nearly equal to the intensity at P, as R1 is very nearly equal to R2. If the position of P2 is such that the two strips M1 M2 from the upper half are obstructed, then the resultant amplitude will be R3 by 2. Intensity at this point is directly proportional to R3 by 2 whole square. This is much less than intensity at P. In general, the intensity of light gradually decreases in the geometrical shadow and becomes zero at a certain point. Now the distribution of intensity is shown on the right hand side of the figure. Positions of maximum and minimum intensity. In case 2, we have seen that at point P1 is a maximum or minimum according as AM0 contains an odd or even number of half-parrot strips. That is P1A minus P1M0 equals to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2 for maxima. P1A minus P1M0 equals to 2n into lambda by 2 for minima, where n equals to 1, 2, 3. From figure, P1A whole square equals to PA square plus PP1 square, that is P square plus X square. Therefore, P1A equals to P square plus X square whole power half. That is P into 1 plus X square by 2P square. Therefore, P1A equals to P square plus P plus X square by 2P. Similarly, P1S equals to A plus P plus X square by 2 into A plus P. P1M0 equals to P1S minus M0S. That is A plus P plus X square by 2 into A plus P minus A. Therefore, P plus X square by 2 into A plus P, from equations P1A minus P1M0 equals to P plus X square by 2P minus P plus X square by 2 into A plus P. That is X square by 2P plus X square by 2 into A plus P. That is AX square AX square by 2P into A plus P. Substituting the value, we get AXN square by 2P into A plus P equals to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. XN square equals to 2n minus 1 into P into A plus P into lambda by A. From the above equation is satisfied when P1 is a point of maximum intensity. Now from previous equation, AXN square by 2p into a plus p equals to 2n into lambda by 2. xn square equals to 2n into a plus p into p lambda by a. This equation satisfied that the point P1 will be minimum intensity. Thus, diffraction bands of varying intensities are observed above the geometrical shadow. Determination of wavelength by straight edge. A razor blade is set up in one of the stands of an optical bench parallel to the slit. The slit is illuminated by monochromatic source of light. The fringes are observed by traveling microscope. First of all, microscope is focused on the first maximum and then on other clearly visible maximum, say fifth. The two positions are recorded. For first maxima, x1 equals to a plus p into p lambda by a into whole power half, and for fifth maxima, x5 equals to 9 into a plus p into p lambda by a into whole power half. Subtracting from equations 1 from equation 2, we get x5 minus x1 equals to 9 into a plus p into p lambda by a into whole power half minus a plus p into p lambda by a into whole power half. x5 minus x1 equals to a plus p into p lambda by a into whole power half under root 9 minus 1. With the help of this equation, lambda can be calculated.